prayers were answered, that space junk rocket or whatever came down into the Indian Ocean instead of going over where people live, which is I think a miracle, and also we're all very grateful to God. So that's good news. But there's news stories, Jerry, that are very important, and they pertain to us as Catholic Christians. They're things that we need to be aware of and to look ahead. And they virtually go unnoticed or slightly mentioned with the mainstream media. Wouldn't you agree? And it's really unfortunate because it's things that we need to know. And so if we're not, constantly scouring all these different sites, I know you are not, Jerry, because you like to kind of stay away from the news. These things could fly right past us, and they're very important. So that's what we go to our listeners once a month, and we say, if you have a worthy news story you'd like to share with a worldwide audience, we're mostly Catholic Christians, so please do so now and bring it to our attention. And all you have to do is call up, speak to Rich Jesse, and you'll get on the air. 833-288-3986. That's the number to bring your news story to this platform. And what did you think about it landing in the Indian Ocean? Wasn't that great?
Yeah, like you said, it was certainly, if not a miracle, certainly answered prayers that nobody was hurt by that, thank God. And so, yeah, it's hard to avoid the news, though, nowadays, don't you think? You kind of outed me that I don't consume a whole lot of news on TV, right. Which is true, just because of the nature of it so many times. It's just so... it just brings you down so much. But the thing is, we have to at least be, marginally aware of what's going on. And I just think with social media and with, all the 24-hour news cycles and everything, it's really hard not to know most of the major stories that are going on. But as Debbie said, if there's something maybe in your little part of the country, your state, your county, your city, maybe even a national story or an international story that you would like to talk about that has captured your fancy and maybe made you curious, or you have some thoughts on it, 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
Here's something that I'm a little bit, conflicted about. I actually asked Marty about it this morning because Marty's a real estate broker. So he's been in real estate for like 36 years in investment. So he knows a lot about homes and HOAs and all that kind of stuff. Well, there was a news story this morning that came out, and it talked about this, I believe, Navy veteran that had he lives in Austin, Texas, and he put up a flag on his tree trunk. He has big trees outside his house, and he put up a flag, American flag outside. He attached it to the tree, and it has been there for 17 years. Flying proudly. And then all of a sudden, apparently, a third party filed a complaint to the HOA saying it violated the HOA because it wasn't on a proper pole with the lighting and everything, a proper pole, or attached to the house. And he is taking it to the public forum and saying, he's very offended by this because it's been there for 17 years. And so why didn't anybody say anything, the first time? And it's not like it's like shabby or anything. It's done very well, although it is attached to the big tree trunk. And so they said, listen, you can keep it up, but you need to move it to a proper place that fits the HOA. And now they're trying to fine him, like, I think $50 or something. But my point is, I guess I wanted to ask this question of you, Jerry. What do you think about that? Is it something that should just be ignored from the HOA? Or should neighbors help out? And maybe, because he said, I don't have the money to put up like $1,000 pole, so I'm a little bit, conflicted on how I feel about that. I think he should definitely be able to put the flag up and proudly display it because his family is a military family. But, I do agree with some HOA guidelines because you want everything to be uniform.
Yeah, and I would love to hear from like a veteran or someone in the military or something, or anybody else who knows about this kind of thing. If a flag is supposed to be put on, tree trunks and stuff like that, I totally get it. It's patriotism, on full display, and I love that about it. I just don't know, and I wonder, if there are some protocols maybe that should be followed. But I'd say if he can he should just do a GoFundMe or something like that, and he'll probably get, enough to put up 100 flag poles. But so this could have a really blessed ending to it. because if a pole is erected and the flag is put on the flagpole, then that would be obviously something people could see from a lot of different places. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Well, the thing that they wouldn't give him the third party, a person that made the complaint. But the thing about it is I think that person that made the complaint, it would have been, I think, nicer if they just went to him. Obviously he's probably a neighbor in the same community, and said, hey, is there any way we can switch this to a poll and maybe have all the neighbors get together? I mean, they could have made it a very beautiful exercise in neighborly gestures, wouldn't you say? That's what Marty said too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of doing a little on the fly searching here online, and it says, there's VFW.org has American flag etiquette. I would have to, maybe on the break, I'll take a little bit of time to look into that, but it is an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I can also share my neighbor right across the street, what she did, which is really fascinating. But we want to hear from you. What news stories do you want to bring to the table and alert everyone else that is listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie? Please do so now, and we can talk about it. Or if there's something that's bothering you in the news, we can talk about that as well. This is your show. This is where it's a very safe platform for you to share what's on your mind and what's on your heart. We don't do like any kind of debating or anything like that. We just have great conversations, and it works. We learn, we grow together. 833-288-3986. Please join us. It's in the news. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. We want to hear from you.
The people who call more to life are often hurting so much. I just want to reach through the radio and hug them. I want them to know how loved they are and how much God wants to fill their hearts with His healing grace and His deep desire to completely transform the life of anyone who's open to the movement of His Holy Spirit.
More to Life with Dr. Greg and Lisa Popchak. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
There's all kinds of prayers. There's all kinds of ways of praying. There's all kinds of methods of praying. There's a Salesian method, and Francis de Sales, and Ignatius of Loyola. There's Franciscan methods and Dominican methods, and you name it, we got it. But sometimes we depend on a method too much. St. Teresa said that prayer was conversation with God. Do you have a hard time conversing with people? No, I don't have a hard time. Well, that's how it is with God.
Now there's a fast and easy way to get in touch with EWTN. The EWTN Everything number. Call 1-800-447-EWTN to get the latest information on programming, special events, pilgrimages, and more. Our EWTN Family Viewer Services representatives are ready to help you with whatever your needs may be. The EWTN Everything number. 1-800-447-EWTN. EWTN.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on this Monday. It is our monthly In the News program. Lots of stuff in the news. Something maybe caught your attention, very fascinating story, maybe a troubling story, something from your particular area. It could be also a national, international story, whatever you'd like to talk about. Things going on in the news because they impact us. And as Christians, as followers of Jesus, we ought to have some thoughts and sentiments and feelings about some of these things. So if there is something you would like to talk about, it's 833-288-3986. And I want to tell you, with Our Lady of Fatima's feast day coming up, EWTN RC, religious catalog, EWTNRC.com, is a beautiful 24-inch statue of Our Lady of Fatima. It's imported from Fatima, and a reminder to live the Fatima message. It's like so many other Our Lady of Fatima statues. It portrays our Blessed Mother standing on a cloud with 3 doves facing her at the base. Her hands are joined in prayer, and her face has a tender expression. The 22-inch statue is made of fiberglass and is standing on a 2-inch brown base to a total overall height of 24 inches. Again, this is at EWTNRC.com. Free standard shipping for online orders $75 or more. Please shop Catholic, buy Catholic at EWTNRC.com.
Okay, so we are getting some text messages coming in about the flag story. some of the folks are saying when you buy into these HOA communities, you know what the rules are, and so technically he probably didn't read the rules on the flag, attaching it to the tree. And even though he had it for 17 years, doesn't make it necessarily correct according to the rules that you bought into. So that's true. But I just want to talk about my neighbor real quickly across the street. Her husband served in the military. He has since passed, but she wanted to put up a very beautiful flag, and she went to the HOA. They told her exactly the height requirements, what kind of pole she had to get. She did have to put it in cement, and she did have to have a light on top of it. And the flag couldn't be, she had to make sure it was intact at all times, so it couldn't be, frayed or anything like that. And so she has this beautiful display. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. It sits about, I'm looking at it right now. It sits about 5 feet above her roof line. So it's pretty prominent. And she went to the HOA and asked permission, and she got it. So.
Oh, beautiful. Mm-hmm. If you want to weigh in on that, folks, give us your thoughts on that. Anything else that is in the news, 833-288-3986. And on Facebook, we are streaming the video on Facebook and YouTube, EWTN Catholic Radio channels. And Greta said, did you hear about the transgender use of Mother's Day to change it to Birthing Person's Day? Birthing Person's Day.
Yep. There's been pushback, though, which is good.
Good.
I'm very insulted. I think that is terrible.
Yeah, what will they not attack? What will they not try to tear down,
Right. Birthing person. Okay. Listen, those of us who went through labor for many, many hours, I mean, that is so insulting. I mean, I don't know. I just think that we've gone off the rails on some of these things. We're getting, it's getting so specific and detailed on how we address everything. We're going to get to a point where people are going to be completely silent because they're not going to know what to say. Think about it. And then we're going to lose that ability to communicate with one another in a healthy way. What do you think about that, Jerry? There's people that are afraid to speak.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you've got, I can't remember what university it is now. I think it might have been the University of Michigan puts out this new updated dictionary every year with all of these, all of these new wacky terms and the gender neutral things and all of that. I may be wrong about what school it is, but you're right. I mean, with the pandemic, we have lost, really to a large extent, the ability to be close physically to one another, right, which is very important to us as human beings living in communion with one another. And then if we lose the ability to talk, especially in public, certainly, I mean, God forbid if we were ever restricted in our talking in private about certain things like this. But yeah, I mean, it's people will have to be retrained all over again to know how to talk and what to say. It's very, very sad.
Well, and there's things going on right now all over the news. It's kind of in the local areas, Jerry, but it's people in grocery stores and restaurants and public places just going at each other verbally. If they don't have a mask, if they find out somebody's unvaccinated. I mean, it's really, just calling people names, saying, how dare you? You don't care about other people and stuff. The thing about this is, though, Jerry, tell me what you feel about this real quickly before we get to Suzette. And please join us. Please join us. There's open phone lines. Rich is waiting to answer your call at 833-288-3986. We don't know the medical condition of everybody. We don't know what the specifics are. There are a lot of doctors that are advising people who have serious medical conditions not to do certain things, like wear a mask because they have severe asthma and stuff like that. I mean, there's all sorts of things happening, and we don't know the reason why people are behaving and choosing to do what may seem different from everybody else. We don't know that. So why aren't we asking first before we start just going at them?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it gets back to that saying I say all the time. Everyone you meet is engaged in a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. So, we got to lead with kindness. Certainly, that's a very important way to approach other people. 833-288-3986. As Debbie said, we're going to Suzette in Fredericksburg, Virginia, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Suzette. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi there, you guys. I'm just calling because I'm just listening, waiting to go for lunch. But HOA fees, I understand that man's heartfelt patriotism, but HOA fees are instilled in what we pay for in the community. And I hope his neighbors help him pay for a flagpole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big patriot, and that's all.
Yeah.
That's all. You know,
Well-
because I live in a 55-plus community, and we've got rules and about this and about that, and, you know, somebody just wasn't feeling patriotic and sent a letter to the HOA president, and I just pray that the man gets a flagpole or some way to display his patriotic feelings. That's all.
I totally
And
agree, Suzette.
Wish you guys a good day.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I totally agree. I hope the neighbors all come together and they make it a beautiful, maybe they can make it a great experience and they could have a flag raising and have a fun potluck as neighbors. It looks like a beautiful community. But you know, I'm one of the people, I've lived in 4 HOA communities and I love them. I know people don't like them. They feel restricted. I love it. I love how everything looks clean and uniform, and it just everybody abides by. I'm a big rule person. I've always been that way. I'm fine with it. And there's been a lot of things that I've been upset about. Like I wanted a gate out into the Greenbelt area. I couldn't get one. I said, okay, I understand it though. No one else can get it. I can't get it. Okay. So I mean, what do you think about that?
I had one experience with an HOA, and it was generally good. I agree with you completely on the things that you said, the cleanliness, the orderliness, and all of that. I guess it just a lot of times depends on who the, what would you call them, the manager?
The governing body, the group, the committee.
Well, there's a committee, but then they usually hire someone to be the kind of the point person for that. Yeah, property manager or whatever. And I remember, I don't remember the exact situation, but I think some of the leaves on a tree of mine got, like close to the fence or something. I mean, it was in the backyard actually. And I always tried to keep it, according to the rules and all of that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But, you just feel like you're kind of constantly under surveillance and being policed in certain situations. So I'm kind of a coin toss on this. I think there are a lot of good aspects to it. But, if you get somebody in the manager's office who likes the position, likes the ability to tell people to do certain things.
Right.
Then likes the power, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Suzette. I just wish that the neighbors would come together and make this. Because the sad thing about it is this poor gentleman is probably thinking that one of his neighbors is really an enemy. I don't know if you're still there, Suzette. Are you there? You want to comment?
I'm going to hang up, but I thank you guys for all you do. God bless you guys.
God bless you, Suzette.
Thank you, Suzette. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of weird to think one of your neighbors is the one that, because it has to be probably one of the neighbors because it's usually in a community. Right.
And then what does that introduce into relationships between neighbors? Suspicion and feelings of, ill will toward one another and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I come down on probably right about in the middle on this situation. I agree with you. There are lots and lots of benefits, and there's some things you just have to kind of roll with. That's the way it is.
Right. We're getting some comments on the change that they're trying to make Birthing Person's Day instead of Mother's Day to be all-inclusive, I guess. And the overwhelming feedback we're getting from text messages is no way. No way. We need to definitely stick up for Mother's Day and Father's Day as well. I agree. Also, too, Jerry, I just wanted to say the Inspired by Faith Book and Fellowship Club is streaming our show live that they do every day. But they all said hi. They said hi to you guys. We're watching you, and so hi back to you. And we just wanted to make sure we let folks know that if they wanted to join the book club this month and fellowship club, they can just go to standtalltoday.com. Click on the book tab, and we're doing Cardinal Sarah's book. And Gigi's sending me the name again because I just don't have it in front of me. It's Monday. It's Monday after. It's from Ignatius Press. And you can get it at EWTNRC.com. It's Monday after Mother's Day. It's called "The Day Is Now Far Spent."
Okay, should be good. Anything from Cardinal Sarah, I think, is very, very good.
He's amazing. I actually know somebody that I just absolutely love. He's an amazing priest, and he worked with Cardinal Sarah for years and said he is incredible. Very, very holy man.
How was your Mother's Day, by the way?
Thank you for asking. You didn't ask.
I just did.
I know. But it only took you 21 minutes. You didn't even know.
Well, you said it's Monday, you know.
I know. I'm teasing you. It was great. Marty just went above and beyond, as always. He's so wonderful, and it was fabulous. Got a lot of wonderful messages, and everybody was so kind and wishing me a happy Mother's Day, and also wanting to send messages from me to my mom, happy Mother's Day, and so I did. It was great. Fabulous.
Good, beautiful. Yeah, it was funny at at Mass. We have a visiting priest, and he asked us. He wanted to pray a blessing over all the moms and grandmothers in the congregation. So he said, "All right, so stretch out your hand towards your mom or your grandmother." And so I looked up to the ceiling. I put my hand up towards heaven. I didn't keep it up there, but it was kind of a little bit of a funny moment for me. I said, well, both of the moms in my life, my own mom and my sister, are in heaven, hopefully, God willing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And let's talk about this too, because this In the News show is typically very popular, but we have to just say this. I heard that a lot of people were traveling this weekend. It was a big announcement in Arizona, and you could tell because there wasn't, you can always tell in Arizona when there's not a lot of cars on the freeway, then you go, everybody's out of town. So people probably are just getting back into town. So maybe that's why we don't have an abundance like we always do on Take Two of calls. So if you're just getting back into town and you're listening in the car, maybe coming back home, tell us how your Mother's Day was. That's news. It's news to us. We'd like to know. See, we're curious. We want to know all the details of the Take Two family. So the number to dial, you can have in the news about anything. And also we're getting another message from Jeff said about the pipeline that was hacked. That was another news story over the weekend that happened in the East. And so we can talk about that as well. 833-288-3986. And you can always email us, take2@EWTN.com. Please keep in mind, we read everything, but we just were informed by Tom Price this morning that we have hundreds and hundreds of emails stacking up. And so we probably won't get to them. Jerry and I are not 30 years old anymore. We're just going to be totally transparent. We're just not. We act 30, but we're not 30 anymore. Right, Jerry?
That's right. Yeah, I'll be double that in a couple months.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Jerry's going to turn 60 July 1st. Oh, did I just tell everybody how old you're going to
hey, Jeff, hit the delete button, will you?
Jerry's going to be 60. We're going to celebrate July 1st. The fireworks are for you this year, Jerry.
Oh, wow, that'll be great. That'll be great. Something else that's happening here in California, which I can hardly believe the rest of the country and the world have not heard about, is Caitlyn/Bruce Jenner is now running for governor because the recall of people who were doing the recall of Gavin Newsom got way, way more than enough votes that they needed to have a recall election, which will come up sometime this month. I'm not familiar with who the other candidates are, but I did see the Sean Hannity interview with Caitlyn. Bruce, I so struggle with this. I'd love to know what other people think because, biologically, no matter what has happened and transpired and been changed, that's still Bruce Jenner sitting in that chair, really. But the point being, I'd be curious to know what people think because Bruce is a very conservative individual.
Running as a Republican. Mm-hmm.
Running as a Republican, and that's the party is sometimes neither here nor there, but very, very much in favor of lower taxes and not defunding police and a lot of this stuff.
And
so
proper immigration. Mm-hmm.
Proper immigration, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I found it rather fascinating. If anybody would like to comment on that, if you've heard it, if you saw the interview with Sean Hannity, that's definitely a news story that we all, I think, want to pay attention to. Can we vote for Bruce, Caitlyn? I personally think that, if it gets down to this, when we have elections and you look at the candidates and you see which one on the issues I think is closer to being friendly to like religion and life and so forth. And I don't know Bruce Caitlyn's stance on pro-life yet or anything, but it's going to be an interesting thing. It's unfolding right here before my eyes in this state. So if you'd like to comment on that or anything else in the news, 833-288-3986.
the words of Blessed Carlo Acutis.
All people are born as originals, but many die as photocopies.
And this.
I'm happy to die, because I live my life without wasting even a minute of it on anything unpleasing to God.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, and this is an EWTN Bookmark Brief. Just had the pleasure of speaking with Susan Tassoni about her latest book, Praying with Jesus and Faustina During Lent and in Times of Suffering, available through our EWTN Religious Catalog. Susan, what is this book about?
It's a very unique book that focuses on the passion through the words of Jesus and Faustina. So the focus is coming actually from the actual words of Jesus and Faustina, which makes it a book like no other. It perfectly addresses the terrible sufferings that we're experiencing today. So you don't find contemporary books like this. And there's never been a combination like this with Faustina and Jesus.
So really an outgrowth of your own passion. Thank you so much, Susan Tassoni. Praying with Jesus and Faustina During Lent and in Times of Suffering. We could use it now. Available through our EWTN Religious Catalog, EWTNRC.com, of course, all things Catholic. And thank you all for stopping by EWTN's Bookmark Brief, and we'll see you next time.
EWTN, helping people grow in their love and understanding of God.
I just wanted to thank you for your show. It's made such a huge difference in my faith life, because if you don't know why you're doing things and you're just going through the motions, it's totally pointless. But if you know why, it's infinitely meaningful. So you really helped me make a 180.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Oh, is it you or me? Me? Okay.
Apparently you.
I typed over you, and then you're looking at me. I said, see, it takes two of us. Okay, it's Monday. Hello. It's your day to call in on In the News. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher, and this is your show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And we have two open phone lines. So if you want to share something that's news to you and you want us to know, now is the time to call in. Rich Jesse is answering calls. Jeff Burson is at the controls, and he's also monitoring social media. And we're getting a boatload of text messages coming in wanting to talk about Caitlyn Jenner, Jerry. 833-288-3986. I just want to share what's happening in Arizona, the news, the local news in Arizona, because remember, we consider ourselves like, we're right beneath California. So we learn about California news all the time in Arizona. And it was just announced this weekend that Caitlyn Jenner is actually like in the lead as from all the candidates trying to get that position from Newsom. So I guess apparently people watched that Hannity interview. I did as well. And they liked a lot of the things Caitlyn Jenner said. Now, I don't recall Caitlyn saying anything about life issues. Although he did say, said that about supporting, LGBTQ rights and all that kind of stuff and that. But so it's going to be an interesting thing. I wonder if the bishops in California, especially Archbishop Cordileone, who's been very vocal recently, which has been great, is going to say anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I read it right, I don't think it was, I'm not sure if Caitlyn addressed it directly and head on, but I know that Sean asked Caitlyn about the transgender boys playing in girls' sports. Didn't Caitlyn say, no, it's a no-no?
Totally unfair.
Totally unfair, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all remember Bruce Jenner, right? And the Olympics and everything, and being just the world athlete, that he was, okay? And he doesn't deny that. And he realizes the biological differences between males and females in competition. And I think he made the comment, Caitlyn made the comment, women would never win, on certain areas. And that's so true. I look at the weightlifting thing. There's now people are really transgender people are looking into going into women's weightlifting and really? I mean, my husband can outlift weights on me all day long. I mean, there's no way I can. And here's the sad thing about this. Okay, real quickly, I just want to say this. What's really sad is women are really fierce competitors. I know because I played competitive golf, and women want to win and achieve things. And I think what's really sad is women are going to try to compete with these biological males in women's sports, and they're going to hurt themselves physically. They're going to hurt themselves physically because they're going to strain themselves to the point where all of their organs are going to get compromised. That's just my belief.
Well, I don't know how many decades ago it's been, quite a few, maybe about 25, 30 years, we had what's called Title IX, which was just really to help bolster women's sports because they were seen as not being given a fair shake. And so much ground has been made in women's athletics, girls' athletics. I'm just afraid that if this is not curbed pretty soon, it could really just take the wind out of their sails, and pretty soon girls are just going to throw their hands up in the air and say, I'm not going to turn out for sports at all, which would be a real tragedy.
But then in that case, you'd have transgender sports. So why not just start a transgender sports, competitive sports? Couldn't that happen?
I don't know. I see a lot of states are passing laws that are prohibiting, transgender, biological males from competing with girls and women. Right,
but I mean, they're own separate.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't they have
I don't
their
know.
Oh,
I would not want to see that.
You know everything. You wouldn't want to see that? No. You know everything, though. But I'm just saying, how do you let them, do the things that they want to do? I don't know. You see, here's where we're at. It becomes so chaotic and muddled that you don't know what is clear to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway, where are we going? Oh, real quickly, may I just say this real fast? We're getting comments. You can go to EWTNRC.com and get Cardinal Sarah's book. You can join us for the book club. It's The Day Is Now Far Spent by Robert Cardinal Sarah, and you get it at EWTNRC.com and join the book club. Go to standtalltoday.com. Okay.
Okay, a lot of people want to talk about what's in the news, so we'll go to Kathy in Marietta, Georgia, listening on The Quest, and a first-time caller. Hi, Kathy. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, Kathy. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. I have kind of not necessarily in the news, but it's happening at least at our church. We have reservations on Sundays, and when people come in and don't have the reservations, we seat them close to the time Mass starts, 5-10 minutes before. And then people that have made reservations come in quarter after, 11:30, whatever, and they are upset because they made a reservation and can't sit in the church. They have to go to another place where they have it live streamed. They do get the Eucharist there, but it's not, the live Mass. I mean, I was told just today, we were talking about it, and some of the ushers and the people that stand at the front are getting yelled at, and people, they're terrible, and I just don't understand you're going to church and acting like this.
Mm-hmm. May I comment first? Because I have a real problem with all of this. I'm probably going to get a boatload of emails. Actually, don't email me. It's the day after Mother's Day, so don't email. Kathy, I'm totally against all these reservations. I love the way my church does it. We get there early. If you want to get in, you get there early. My husband and I get there 40 minutes before Mass starts so that we make sure we get in. I think it is terrible because we actually were traveling out of town, and we went to one church that took reservations. We had to get pastor approval to come into the church. And we even said, Father, we'll stand outside the window and just open the window and we'll listen to Mass. And he's like, all right, come on in. And it was so uncomfortable. I thought the whole thing brings out the worst in people. And honestly, the way people are acting, that is not Christian behavior at all. And to get prepared for Mass, we're supposed to get in a disposition of being ready to enter into the prayerful state of the holy sacrifice of the Mass. This is the most incredible event we have as Catholic Christians, and we take it so lightly, like it's like putting in a time thing. Not everybody, I'm sorry, not everybody, just some people it's like a time, what is it, Jerry? The thing, your clock. That
Clocking in, yeah.
Yeah, clocking in. It's on. I've never seen anything like it, and I will tell you, I think the ushers are under pressure, but I also think too that they're so tightly wound, because I had an usher who knows me came at me during Mass. And I was like, are you kidding me? And it was absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry, Kathy. You just got my blood pressure sky high.
I'm sorry, but do you know why they do reservations at our church at least?
No, I don't. Why?
Because of COVID. Because this way they have information on everyone that's coming. They can call or email, do an email blast. If someone has COVID at that Mass, then they can contact everyone and say,
contact tracing.
Be aware. And that is the reason. That's the only reason that there's reservations.
Okay, well, that's understandable. I understand it. Then they have to come up with they have to post everywhere the rules, because for people coming in 10 minutes after Mass starts, I mean, what are they going to? This isn't like some kind of movie that you're coming in late after the previews.
Right. Exactly.
Don't get me started with that, Kathy. I go to a parish that we all get there super early, so we all are very I have a real problem with the whole way people are even looking at, not everybody, but looking at Mass. It's a little distorted, and I think it comes from really poor catechesis. I will be honest with you, it comes from poor catechesis from the parishes. So we need to start over and hit the reset button for Catholics and really teach solid catechesis, Kathy. And that's why I love Catholic radio, and I hope you do as well. And Kathy, you're a first-time caller, and we love the folks at the Quest. Tell the gals at the Quest they've got a great radio station.
Well, I appreciate you. I listen to you on my way home after I am at church, so I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too. Sorry, Kathy. It's my Italian getting up. I'm sorry.
It's
Go
okay.
ahead.
It's okay. No problem. I understand. Well, thank you for taking my call.
God bless you, Kathy. Thanks. You're Italian getting up. I've never heard that phrase before.
I think I heard Teresa Tomeo say it. I borrowed it from Teresa.
Well,
I figure if Teresa says it, I can say it.
If Teresa said it, it's got to be legit.
Well, here's the thing about it, though. I think that you just need to make it clear to parishioners what the rules are. And then people visiting, remember, there's always people coming to church. The last thing you want to do is leave a bad impression on people entering back into the church. If they are taking a second look at the church, we should be very welcoming and loving and kind, and we can explain things in a beautiful way. We don't have to get mean towards one another. Anyway, we just don't.
Well, yeah, and I just my 2 cents on this. I have trouble with the reservations thing too. I know it has to be done in some instances, and so I'm not dissing it or anything like that. But it just, to me, it just has this feel of like, you're making a dinner reservation or something. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And the other thing too is people coming in late. I understand it happens. You just get running late on a Sunday morning. If you have a lot of kids, you certainly know the challenge of getting them all organized in a timely manner, being somewhere on time. But I definitely have a problem with the people who, appear to have no such limitations or difficulties, and they just sort of wander in, like you said, about 10 or 15 minutes after Mass starts. Actually, that could rise to the level of not even fulfilling somebody's Sunday obligation if they come in. I've heard after you got to at least be there for the gospel. I've heard.
Our pastor at the liturgy of the Word and the liturgy of the Eucharist. You need to be there for the reading of the Word and the Eucharist. Yes, that's what our pastor said too. Yeah.
Okay, thanks again, Kathy and Georgia.
Kathy.
We appreciate that.
Call
Deborah,
again, Kathy.
Yeah, Deborah is next in Youngsville, Louisiana, listening on Christ Our King Radio. Hi, Deborah. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, guys. How you doing? I just want to make a comment about Mother's Day.
Sure.
I'm fortunate to be a great-grandma. I'm 66, and so I went to Mass with 4 generations, and we were able to take a picture of all 4 of us in front of the Blessed Mother, and then we went out to lunch, and I was just blessed that I was able to be there, and my great-granddaughter got blessed, and it just gave me such a warming feeling to be there with 4 generations, because that doesn't get to happen very often.
Oh, you are so right, Deborah, and you are so blessed. And to take the picture with all the generations in front of the Blessed Mother, if that was me, Deborah, I would have that picture blown up and put in a frame and given to every household in your family, because that is precious.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to exactly do that. The only thing is I had my veil on, and so it's like you could barely see me because of the veil, and but that's okay. That's how I give reverence to God.
That's right. Beautiful.
But yes, it's very beautiful, and it's something that I'm going to treasure forever.
Oh yeah.
So I just wanted to make that comment.
Well, congratulations on all the generations, and how beautiful that you are the mother. And Deborah, I don't know if you, because you spell your name the same way I spell mine. Have you researched Deborah in the Old Testament? If you haven't, please do so.
Yes, I have. Yes,
okay,
my parents spelled it that way. Yes, I have. And in fact, my grandfather used to call me Queen Bee. And Deborah means Queen Bee.
Right. And did you know that the Deborah means bee? And people always says, oh, does that mean like you sting and stuff? You know, a bee is very nurturing, and it pollinates everywhere. So you see, Deborah, you're the generations. Interesting connection, huh?
Yes. Yes,
beautiful.
God knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Deborah, when you got on the line on the air, I thought you sounded very, very young. You do sound very, very young. And when you said you're a great grandmother, you are a young great grandmother, and with good health and God's grace, you could see great grandkids perhaps sometime in your life. Wouldn't that be an amazing experience?
That's what I told. I have 3 great grandchildren and 1 on the way in June. And so that'll be 4. And I told my oldest great-grandson, I said, Nana's going to live until you have kids. And he just started laughing. He's 5. So, but anyways, yes, I am very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Beautiful.
Amen.
Congratulations. Beautiful. God bless you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in. That really made our day. Real quickly, the journey home tonight, 8 Eastern time. Marcus Grodi does a great job, and his guests. They address the personal obstacles and, the things about doctrine and stuff that could be, objectionable to people and kind of stumbling blocks. And then also the irresistible attraction to the church Jesus founded 2,000 years ago. So the journey home tonight, 8 Eastern time. If you want to learn all about people, how they come into the church and why they look at the Catholic Church and why they journeyed into the Catholic Church, this is the show to listen to.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of social media. We'll try to get to some of that in a moment. And Karen, or Barbara, you are up next on the phone, but our producer today is Jeff Burson, and he just passed a note across to this, and I looked it up online. Priests in about 100 German parishes are now going to defy the Vatican and bless same-sex unions. I'll repeat that again. Catholic priests in about 100 German parishes are going to begin today blessing same-sex unions, obviously in defiance of the Vatican. So, this could be a little, not a little, but a huge crack in the foundation of the church, Debbie, which could lead to, who knows, schisms or whatever. This is really very serious.
Well, this is happening in Germany. And it is in defiance of what the Vatican, the Holy Father, has stated. So this is problematic. But let's face it, German, bishops and priests have done similar things in the past. And so we'll see how the Vatican, I think, responds. I think that's going to be the key. I mean, what are we supposed to do when this happens like this? It's in complete disobedience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
All right, a couple of social media comments on the news for you. On YouTube, Patrick is watching there. Hi, Patrick, and everybody else.
Hi, Patrick.
Patrick says there has been little or no coverage by mainstream media of the fact that from May 2020 to May 2021, there were 68 attacks against Catholic churches. And Patrick says Satan has a long leash these days. Indeed, he does. On Facebook, Danielle, last week the Texas House of Representatives passed a bill that will penalize cities that passed local laws affecting police funding and accountability. So thank you, Danielle, for sharing that with us as well.
And there was also someone that called in and couldn't hold something about a principal in Florida paddled a 6-year-old. I didn't read anything about that. So if anybody has any information, send it over to us, maybe take2@EWTN.com. Had you heard about it?
Well, just when this listener called in and commented on it, and I did look it up real quickly, paddling is still legal in the state of Florida. I don't know that it should be. Paddling was certainly legal when I was in high school, and I'll stop that comment right there because I did get paddled a couple times. But
you did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow. How old were you?
I was in high school, and one of them wasn't my fault, but we won't get into that. Anyway, it is still legal in Florida on the books anyway, although I don't believe that it should be. And so there are no charges going to be filed against this teacher because it was technically within the law. So.
Yeah, I have strong thoughts about it. Maybe we should do a show on it. We did a show on, didn't we do a show on spanking? We did one time, like years ago.
I think we did, yeah, a few years ago.
We get a lot of folks that visit us at take2show.com. We have a lot of things posted there, resources and stuff for you. So if you want to go visit us on the website, take2show.com. Okay, where are we going next?
Barbara is next, I believe, listening in Ann Arbor, Michigan, listening on Ave Maria Radio, and a first-time caller. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm thank you. I'm calling about Caitlyn Jenner, but I just wanted to say regarding the comment you made about Catholic churches, in this year of St. Joseph and maybe other years, if we pray a litany to St. Joseph, we get an indulgence for his protection of persecuted Christians. So I really believe that we should all be praying this litany to St. Joseph for the intention of persecuted Christians throughout the world. So that's not why I'm calling, though. I'm calling because I don't think we should be hoodwinked by Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner. When she was asked the question about transgender boys in women's sports, she didn't really answer that question. She went around it by saying it's a complicated issue. She said something, yes, but it's a complicated issue. Well, that is not answering the question, and I don't believe we have to, I just don't believe her. I think that she's going to make it an issue. I think your idea, Debbie, is not bad. Have a whole category for transgendered people. And then we don't jeopardize women's sports in America. And a lot of these women are depending on it for college scholarships or college entries. So, we can't do that to them. And that's all I have to say. So I'm going to take your answers or discussion off the air, if you don't mind.
No, that's fine, Barbara. Thank you so much for calling. And yeah, that's what I said at the start of the show, Debbie. You felt that Bruce, Caitlyn may have answered that a little bit more strongly than I did, or than Barbara does. But at any rate, this all just gets at so much deeper of a problem in our country and in the world today, and that is, we have when you deny the Creator and His ways of creating, God created them male and female, as it says in the Bible, and as we know from science, this really isn't a challenging thing, and so we have a real serious root problem. With people like Caitlyn making certainly a bad example for young people who now think, it's just fine, it's okay to go ahead and change sexes or compete against women if you're a boy and stuff like this. So I think we've really got a mess on our hands here, and I don't know, only a wide scale conversion of hearts I think is going to really help to bring about the truth and things like this and other things.
Our Lady of Fatima, please.
Yeah.
Please help us. I did catch that too, Barbara, about Caitlyn saying that it's a complicated issue. I was wondering if it maybe had something to do with how far along these folks are in transition, how many hormones they've taken, how far they've transitioned. See that, and so that's a whole issue there. I agree. I think the transgender sports, competitive sports, needs to be shelved for a while until we figure out what to do. But to absolutely, completely annihilate women's competitive sports. I mean, I just want to say this again. I was going to be a professional golfer. Okay. If I went up against a biological male that transitioned to identify as a female now in golf, I never would have won a round of golf. Never would I have ever picked up a match. Never. I mean, it's just it's almost impossible because they would outdrive. They can do everything further than a woman can, and it would have ruined competitive golf. I mean, I have really strong thoughts about it. I think it's sad for women, but I do know a lot of women who were in competitive sports who said, "Oh, they think it's great because they are showing how woke they are." That they can accept everyone, and I'm like, okay, that's not reality. But if you want to go that direction.
I heard a phrase the other day, woke fatigue. Have you heard that? Mm-hmm. And it's no surprise. I mean, when trends like this come along, they are fads, they're phases, they're trends. Hopefully they are anyway. But people can get really not only fatigued, but quite sick and tired of some of this stuff. And maybe there will be an uprising against the wokeness of our country and the world. We certainly need people to stand up and let their voices be heard in opposition to many of these things. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. We're not basing it in reality. It's not even real.
It's not.
We're trying to identify with something that is not real. It is not God-given. It is not what God designed. So it's not real. We can call it all we want, but it's not real. Mm-hmm. Right?
Absolutely.
Just like I'm not a birthing person. I'm a mother. And I worked hard at becoming a mother. And there's a lot of women that are still working hard at trying to become mothers. And it's a tough thing. And once you make it, you don't want to be called a birthing person.
Right. Yeah,
that reduces you to a machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll tell you what. We have come to we're going to get the closing music here in just a moment. Greg driving to Dallas. I heard on the radio about outlawing the traditional Latin Mass. Have you heard about this? Greg, I know at the Vatican, I know Pope Francis has put limitations on that. I just did a quick internet search, Greg. If you just put in Pope Francis Latin Mass, you'll find lots of information about that. Karen in Los Angeles, I'm sorry we're out of time for getting to you. And Cecilia in Colorado, great calls. I wish we could have gotten to them, but you are all fantastic. Made this another great Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Oh, absolutely. And again, to all the mothers out there, those that are adoptive moms and all mothers, that if you're just mothering anybody, you're a mother, and we love you. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.